I'm retiring. What should I do with my 401k? This is something that keeps a lot of people up at night. You've got this big chunk of money, which may be your biggest asset sitting in your 401k. You're approaching retirement, and suddenly you realize, what do I do with this? Most people think the hard part was actually saving the money, but what you do with your 401k when you retire can literally make or break your retirement income strategy. Get it wrong, and you could be paying thousands more in taxes than you need to, or worse, you could lock yourself out of your own money when you need it most. So today I'll discuss 4 critical pieces you need to understand, and when you put them all together, you'll know exactly what to do with your 401k to maximize your retirement income. And this stuff isn't basic. These are the decisions that separate people who struggle in retirement from those who enjoy it. So if you're serious about making the most of what you've worked decades to build, stick around. Let's start with the foundation, understanding what your choices actually cost you, because in my experience, most people have no idea. You've got 3 main roads here. Leave it in your old 401k, cash it out, or roll it over. Now, cashing out is almost always a disaster because you'll pay ordinary income tax on everything you take out of your 401k, plus penalties if you're under the age of 59 and a half. So let's focus on the real decision. Should we leave it in the 401k or should we roll it out? Now, here's what most people miss. The all-in cost of keeping your 401k isn't just the expense ratio you see on your statements. You've also got fund fees, record-keeping fees, admin costs, and sometimes advisory fees layered on top. I've seen plans where people think they're paying 0.5%, but the real all-in cost is closer to 1.5% when you add it all up. And for that 1.5%, they're not getting customized advice on how to lower their taxes, set up their estate plan, or review their insurance. That was just for the management of their 401k, which is pretty crazy in my opinion. So think of it like buying a house. The listing price isn't your total cost, right? There's a lot more that comes with that, like taxes, insurance, maintenance, or HOA fees. It's the same concept here. Now compare that to an IRA. In an IRA, you're in the driver's seat now, where you can choose index funds with expense ratios under 0.1%, or you can choose expensive actively managed funds. The difference is completely up to you. The key is you control the outcome. Now, in some cases, it can be different. 401ks, especially at larger companies, actually have better pricing than what you can get in an IRA because they can get what's called institutional pricing power, which simply just means because the 401k provider is so big, they have access to lower cost funds. So don't always assume rolling over always saves you money. You've got to do the math. Now let's talk about control, and this is where a lot of 401ks fall apart. So picture this. You want to rebalance your portfolio. In some 401ks, that means logging into a clunky website, filling out forms, or maybe even calling someone and waiting on hold. And for a quick side note, real quick, all the major 401k players are not like this. I'm just speaking from my own experience in helping people with their 401k plan. But I can honestly say, just because a 401k provider is very well known, maybe they have a really big brand and they have a great website, that doesn't mean things always will get done quickly and timely, again, at least in my experience. Another example would be if you want to change your beneficiaries. Some places still require you to complete a form. If you need to take a withdrawal, I hope you got some time on your hands to wait because you'll most likely will need a form and have a processing time. And again, I'm not bashing all the 401k providers, but for some of these companies, you might still run across this. So just compare all of that to a good IRA platform where it could take just one click to rebalance your portfolio, a couple clicks to update beneficiaries, and automatically schedule your withdrawals. It's the difference between driving a car with manual steering and power steering. Both will get you there, but one makes the journey a whole lot easier. And here's why this matters more than you think. When managing money is a hassle, people don't do it. They set it and forget it, right? Even when their situation changes. I've seen people stick with terrible asset allocations for years simply because rebalancing their 401k was such a pain and it took time. And honestly, I don't even blame them because many people who retire, they don't want to do this stuff. But control isn't just about convenience, right? It's about flexibility. In an IRA, you've got access to thousands of investment options. Your 401k might have 20 or 30 options. Now, I'm not saying more options isn't always better. Sometimes it's actually just as confusing, But if you know what you want, or you're working with someone who does, that flexibility becomes powerful. Think of it like this. A 401k is like eating at a restaurant with a limited menu. The food might be great, but you're stuck with their choices. An IRA is like having your own kitchen. You can cook whatever you want, but you need to know what you're doing. Here's where things get interesting and where most people make expensive mistakes. There are some hidden rules that can either save you a fortune or cost you big time. First is mixing up your money types. Your 401k might have 3 different types of money: pre-tax, Roth, and after-tax contributions. Most people lump them all together, but they need to be handled completely different. Your Roth money should roll directly to a Roth IRA so you can keep that tax-free growth protected, and your pre-tax money goes to a traditional IRA. Now, here's where it can get tricky if you have after-tax contributions. The contributions themselves can go to a Roth IRA because they've already been taxed, but the growth on them typically has to go to a traditional IRA. Once you have the earnings portion in the traditional IRA, you can then convert them to the Roth, pay the taxes on the conversion, and build up more tax-free income. Second is company stock. If you've got company stock in your 401k, there's something called net unrealized appreciation, or NUA, that could save you thousands in taxes. Instead of rolling that stock to an IRA, you might want to move it to a regular brokerage account, because with company stock, you pay income tax only on the stock's cost basis, not on the amount it gained since you bought it. So what many people do is move the company stock into a taxable account and roll the remaining 401k assets into an IRA. That way, if you had $1 million in company stock with a $20,000 basis, you'd pay ordinary taxes only on the $20,000 and not be taxed on the gain of the stock until you sell it later. Third is the age 55 rule. Here's one many retirees don't really know about. If you leave your job in the calendar year you turn 55 or later, you can take penalty-free withdrawals from that 401k before age 59 and a half. So if you roll everything to an IRA, you lose that flexibility. So if you're retiring at 56 and need income before 59 and a half, you might want to keep some money in the 401k for penalty-free access and roll over the rest just to maintain some flexibility. Because if you roll everything to an IRA and that's all you got to live on for retirement at the moment, taking money out of an IRA before 59 and a half triggers that 10% penalty on top of the taxes. So just know not all 401k plans allow the age 55 rule. So if you're considering retirement early between 55 and 59, and most or all of your money is in your current 401k, make sure to check with your 401k provider if this could be an option for you. Now, here's the piece most people never think about, and that's coordination. Your 401k doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It's part of a bigger picture that includes other IRAs, Roth accounts, taxable investments, and maybe a pension. Think of it like an orchestra. Each instrument can make music on its own, but when they're all coordinated, you get a symphony. Same thing with your retirement accounts. Here's what I mean. You don't need the same 60-40 stock bond mix in every account. Maybe you put your taxable bonds in your traditional IRA where the income is tax deferred anyway. Put your growth stocks in your Roth where the gains will never be taxed, or keep your dividend paying stocks in taxable accounts where you get preferential tax treatment. This is called asset location, and it can add serious value over time. But it's nearly impossible to do well when you've got money scattered across 5 different 401k plans from prior jobs. It can be a little bit confusing and it's harder to track. Consolidation will make this a lot easier. It also makes the required minimum distributions easier to manage when you hit 73 or age 75. Instead of calculating RMDs from multiple accounts and trying to coordinate them, you've got everything in one place. Plus, there's the psychology factor. When you can see your whole financial picture clearly, you usually make better investment decisions. When everything's scattered and confusing, it's hard to track, you tend to make emotional choices that hurt yourself over the long term. All right, so here's your decision framework in working through this. Start with the money. Calculate the true all-in cost of your 401k versus what you'd pay in an IRA. If your 401k is expensive or has terrible investment options, maybe there's not much transparency, that's a strong signal to roll it over. Also consider your timeline. If you're retiring before 59 and a half and might need penalty-free access, the age 55 rule could be valuable. In that case, maybe keep at least some money in your current 401k, but first Before you do anything, check with your 401k provider if they'll honor the age 55 rule, because not all of them do. Also, check for special circumstances. So if you have company stock, look into the NUA rule. If you have after-tax contributions, make sure you handle the rollover correctly to maximize your Roth opportunity. Coordination, again, is everything. If you've got multiple old 401ks scattered around, consolidation probably makes sense for easier management and better tax planning. If your current 401k is solid and you're still working, you might roll old plans into your current one instead of an IRA. Overall, there's really no universal right answer here, but there is a right answer for your situation. The key is understanding these 4 pieces so you can make an informed decision instead of just going with whatever your HR department suggests or doing what your coworker did. So get organized, list out all your retirement accounts, their costs and their features, then work through this framework. And if you want this done for you in mapping out your entire retirement income strategy, check out our free retirement tax and income blueprint below. Thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.